Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video, well it's a Q&A video, so another Q&A video on all the Arrowverse shows. So just quickly, next week, basically exactly 1 week from now, I'll upload my last Q&A before the shows start, because the shows start in a week and 1 day. So make sure to leave more questions in the comment section down below, like really important ones you would want answered from me, obviously, before the season start, because once the seasons start, I will be doing Q&As. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them weekly or fortnightly, and a lot of people ask me what a fortnight is. A fortnight is 2 weeks. It's a term used in Australia a lot, so I know people are asking that as a made-up word. It's a real word. It's used a lot in Australia, at least. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Q&As weekly or every 2 weeks. But after the shows start, obviously the questions are all going to be related to what's going on in the shows at the moment. So be sure to leave any more questions in the comment section down below in regards to stuff you want to know before the shows start. Yeah. And also, of course, if you want to leave a like on the video to show support, it'd be awesome as well. So let's get straight into the questions. Question 1 comes from, I've lost my place, Super Sam, and they ask, is Legends of Tomorrow worth watching? A pretty simple question. The answer to that is yes, it is very much worth watching. Season 2, I think Legends of Tomorrow was the most improved show in Season 2 of its show, obviously. Season 1 had growing pains. Even the actors and the showrunners have admitted they struggled in Season 1 just to find their feet. And the issue with that was because, if you remember in Season 4 of Arrow and Season 2 of The Flash, the crossover was around Vandal Savage and like Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And because of that crossover, they did cover a lot of the story that they could have used in Legends of Tomorrow Season 1, and due to that, they struggled a bit in regards to their storytelling. But definitely the last half of Season 1 is very good, well, at least good. But Season 2 of Legends is really awesome. I think it was probably the second best season, I think, last season, just after Arrow. It was very enjoyable, and there's only a couple of like negatives with the season, but overall, it was really, really strong. We had the JSA involved, and if you haven't watched it yet, I know it's hard to binge watch something, like 2 seasons of something before the seasons start, you know, in a week and 1 day. But if you can find time, try and catch up on Legends and then, you know, catch up with the season, hopefully before the crossover this season. Question 2 comes from Jack Hackett. That's pretty cool. Got a little bit of rhyming going on there. And they ask, would you rather travel through time or the multiverse? Now, this is actually a really interesting question because there's a lot of people replying to this one. I think it had like 80 or 90 thumbs up on the video. So a lot of people were replying to this question themselves. Time would be awesome just to go through everything. But the thing is, we have books, like we have history of the internet. We can look through what happened in the past. Obviously, we can't see what happened in the future, but we can see what happened in at least half of where we could possibly travel to, which is the past. So because of that, I think it would be pretty cool to travel the multiverse and just see what every different Earth would be like. Like, what is the Earth 4 version of me like? Like, what is he like? What is the Earth version, Earth like 7 version of you like? Exactly, like that, all that type of stuff. I think it'd just be awesome to see that. And obviously there's infinite Earths. It would just be crazy. Question 3 comes from Pie Plays, and they ask, do you think that Tommy Merlyn, will come back as Earth X Green Arrow? So if you have not seen like the poster yet for the crossover for this season with all the 4 shows, it's Crisis on Earth X, and there is Earth X, like evil versions of Green Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl, and another Archer as well, which they did confirm who that is, sorry, and I'll talk about that in this question. So will Tommy come back as Earth X Green Arrow? The answer to that is no. These evil Earth X like versions of the characters are actually going to be played by like Stephen Amell, Melissa Benoist, and Grant Gustin. But as I said, there is this other 4th character who they confirmed as Prometheus. But the interesting thing about Prometheus is that they said that Josh Segarra, who played Adrian Chase or Prometheus last season, there's no word of him coming back to play the character in the crossover. And at the moment, they are filming the crossover. So if he was going to come back, they would have confirmed that by now. And it's not something massive to announce that he would be coming back to play Prometheus, because it would just be something that everyone would think would be happening. So due to this, it does seem that someone else will be under the mask of the Earth X, like Prometheus. We don't know if they'll call him Earth X Prometheus. You think they would, because they confirmed that that's the character coming along. So due to that, it could be someone like Tommy Merlyn, it could be someone like Roy Harper, It could be Quentin Lance, who is the Prometheus on Earth X. Like all these different theories that a lot of people had last year or last season with Arrow as to who Prometheus could be. They could take one of those and make the Earth X Prometheus, which is what I think they're going to do. The issue with Tommy Merlyn is if Colin Donnell, who plays him, is available, because he's obviously on another show. It wouldn't require too much of his time, because a lot of the time Prometheus would most likely be wearing the mask, so it would just be like, you know, a handful of scenes with him without the mask and maybe doing some voiceover work. But yeah, it would be cool to see him come back, and it would just be sort of like a nice little nod or wink to the fans, because a lot of people thought Tommy Merlyn would be Prometheus last season. Question 4 comes from AC Music 7, and they ask, do you think there will be any repercussions from Barry escaping the Speed Force? I don't think so. I think the major repercussion is just Barry himself and how he dealt with the Speed Force, how it changed him. I think that's going to be the major repercussion in regards to Barry escaping from the Speed Force, because he could have an issue where if he got out of there and maybe the Speed Force didn't necessarily want him out of there, he might not be fully himself in regards to, you know, just, you know, when like he's not fully charged, if that makes sense. Like, you know, when you unplug your phone, it's not fully charged, it might be on 69%. That could be with Barry, as he wasn't purposely let out of the Speed Force by the actual Speed Force. It could be similar to remember when Wally West was in the cocoon in season 3, and they sort of broke him out of there, and he was sort of like his like brain was moving too fast, and everything was just out of whack, and they had to sort of like slow his system down. That could be something that's similar with Barry, but more of a thinking stage and just trying to convey information. That's what they could do with Barry, and that could be like the major repercussion. But in regards to like everything else around them, would be very surprised. I think the major thing that the Speed Force would have done leading into season 4 would have been that thing right at the end of season 3 with all that lightning coming down, which is most likely the new source for metahumans. They haven't confirmed it or denied it yet, so that could be the major thing in regards to the Speed Force having an effect on the outer world. Question 5 comes from the True God of Destruction, nice name, and they went, Pagey, that is me, if you were a speedster, what colour lightning would you want? So we have like purple, we have yellow, orange, red, blue. I think those are the colours we've had. Savitar had white, I guess. I'd want something just weird, like green lightning, just something different. You don't want to be like, you don't want to stick with the crowd too much. You want to have your own thing, be a bit original. So I think I'd go with green lightning, or maybe black lightning. Oh, black lightning, that's a character, isn't it? Anyway, we'll have some black lightning going on. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe some grey, maybe not completely black, but something a bit different. So green, black, grey, something like that. Question 6 comes from Samantha Halloran, and they ask, do you think that in the crossover event, Barry will recognise Dinah Drake due to her working in the Central City Police Department before the particle accelerator incident, or the particle accelerator blew up, sorry, or at least pay homage to that? Now this is actually a good question, because I think I have seen some people asking this beforehand, like a couple of months ago when that, well not a couple of months ago, like when that episode first aired on Arrow, where, you know, she got her powers through the particle accelerator. And I think the big thing that goes against this, and why they could, you know, skip over Barry recognising her, is that Dinah was an undercover cop. So maybe Barry never interacted with her. Maybe she would never come to Central City Police Department. Maybe that was her like local department, but she never actually went there because she was an undercover cop. She obviously had a different name of like Tina Boland. So maybe she actually never went there. They could have like a wink, like, your face looks familiar. Like she might have had like a picture or something in the Central City Police Department, like, you know, something that she was like stationed there or something, or Barry might have gone through some records and just quickly seen her face. So he might recognise her, but he might not know who she is, and she might have no idea who he is either. Question 7, and our second last question, comes from Bloody Fire 74. And they ask, would you like Red Tornado to return, and how would you bring him back? So for those that don't watch Supergirl, Red Tornado was in season 1 of Supergirl. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I didn't like the design of it. I thought it was actually very bad, the design of Red Tornado. I wasn't the biggest fan. But if you are up to date with anything that's like on the CW stuff, if you've watched the like little sort of sneak peek or trailer thing for the Freedom Fighters The Ray show, you would know that Red Tornado is in that. So he could make a little appearance in the crossover. There is a possibility that we get some like little stock footage, or he gets name dropped at least, or maybe a photo of Red Tornado, depending on what they do with the Freedom Fighters in this crossover, because we know the Ray's going to be in it, but we haven't heard anything else about any of the other Freedom Fighters from Earth X. So Red Tornado has the possibility to come back. In regards to appearing on Supergirl, I doubt it. But in regards to the crossover, there is a possibility there just due to the fact that he is part of the Freedom Fighters on Earth X. And our last question comes from Once RSM, one of the two. Sorry, it's a weird name to pronounce. And they went, do you think the crossover idea is a bit anti-Semitic because our favorite heroes are being Nazis? Now, this was a big talking point when they first released, once again, that Freedom Fighters of the Ray sort of sneak peek trailer thing. I think it was at Comic-Con or just the day after, one of the two. And there's a lot of people not very happy about it, not happy about like children watching it and stuff like that, because you do get little sneak peeks at like what the setting of it is. There's like sort of things that do replicate or are very similar to like concentration camps with certain citizens of America. So I understand why some people aren't happy about it. Yeah, as I said, I completely understand. In the crossover though, I don't think they're going to use the term Nazis too often. In Legend of Tomorrow, they use the term Nazis, but it's more in a comedic way. It's not like you'll see Nazis doing bad things and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure if they're going to use the term Nazi too much. They might set it up and then not use it too much in the crossover. But I have to wait and see. I think they are going to play it safe. There is a lot of Jewish input with this Arrowverse and stuff like that. So I think I'd be very surprised if they did anything too bad. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to play it like too risky, but they sort of have to set up the world. So they might say like that Nazis won World War II, and that could be literally it. And they might not be swastikas or anything like that. I'd be very surprised if we saw that, because it's not like the heroes have like swastikas as their emblems. They have just different emblems. I think they have big lightning bolts essentially. So I think they're going to play it safe. I wouldn't be worried that they're going to do anything too risky. And people always like, don't say, oh, they're being too PC. Well, they have to be. Like, why would you want to be offensive? That's so stupid. So they're going to play it safe. I can understand why people are annoyed. I think Freedom Fighters of the Ray, the TV show, is going to get more risky, if that makes sense. But I think with these big shows, because it's put out to such a large audience, I'm 100% sure they'll be pretty damn safe with it. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could leave a like on it, just to show your support for the video and the channel as a whole. Just thank you for watching these Q&As over the break. As I said, one more in a week from now, just before the shows come back. So be sure to leave any questions that you really want answered before the shows come back in the comments section down below, and I'll do my best. I might do a longer video, maybe like 15 questions, if there is a lot of decent questions, because yeah, I want to try and get as many answered that are relevant before the shows start. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.